Hi, everybody. This is Sarah Fancy, and welcome to Sarah Fancy Constellation YouTube channel. This morning, I'm going to talk with Christina, who was actually the first person to be on this channel as far as someone who received a session, which is basically a family constellation session typically done as a tabletop constellation. With Christina, we didn't even get to the tabletop because she made it very clear that she wanted to axe her family tree, like take an axe to her family tree. And any of you that know anything about this work, it's probably the worst thing that you can do to disconnect from your family system, because this work is all about inclusion, all right, and truth. And the truth is that we all have families. We all come from a mother and a father as of now in 2022. And we have grandparents, great grandparents, we have great great grandparents, we have ancestors. Okay. Everybody does. And when we sever the lines, either the mother line or the father line, then we disconnect from all of that energy behind us, which I don't know, is it infinite? Is it finite? I don't know. I know it's a lot, because all you have to do is imagine your ancestors behind you and feel in your body, and you will probably have some kind of sensation in your body. You'll probably feel heavy in your legs or grounded. And some of you may even feel something in your heart space. And that's because the ancestors love us. I'm laughing, but I'm serious too. Like, you love your descendants, don't you? Like your nieces and your nephews or your kids. And you would want the best for them. It's the same with our ancestors. They want the best for us. And this work actually helps heal the wounds in the family system. And I'm not excusing like abuse or incest or things like that. I mean, yeah, those things are atrocious, and no one should have to experience those kind of experiences. But the truth is that we have a huge resource in our ancestral lineages that can overwhelm the negativity, can bring in a higher frequency that eliminates the lower vibrations, which would be, perpetrator energy or that kind of thing. Anyway, I want to say hello to Christina. Thank you so much for jumping in. And I know it was kind of a rush for you, right?
I'm so sorry. Yes. I didn't expect to work today, but I have been. So I've,
It's fine.
hope I
I'm
look
not going to
okay.
keep you long. I just wanted to ask you a few questions. So I was just explaining to everyone who's watching, that you were the first person that I did these series of constellations that I did live, and that we didn't even get to the tabletop because we focused on the family lineage, your ancestors. And then also we did a meditation. Do you remember?
I do, very much so.
Yeah. And in that session, you kind of went from wanting to axe your family system to kind of appreciating them. Is that
Yeah,
true?
it was quite significant. So in the meditation, I remember, I mean, we were joking about like how I wanted to cut down my family tree. And that comment, I think, led us down the path that you're speaking of. And what was revealed to me, so in the very beginning of the meditation, I'll never forget, you said put your mom and your dad on both sides of you. And I have my mom's passed, and I have a extremely strained, sort of non-existent relationship with my father, who is still alive. And so you asking me to do that was a significant ask, whether you knew it or not. That was the starting point. And
Can I just can I just interject because they
yes,
were actually behind you. Your mother was on your left, behind your left shoulder, and your father was behind your right shoulder. I just wanted to clarify that. Anyway,
okay,
continue.
great. So it was sort of I think me giving another version of myself permission to go there, by placing them there and allowing them there. And so once that happened, the rest of it was quite easy for me, to allow. It was just that starting point, because the family system for me is so estranged and so fraught with complications. That's my best word for it. Lots of trauma. And so what happened in allowing my family to be my family, to exist, to incorporate into my life today, present day, the effects of that one session have reverberated. I don't know if you want me to go into that yet, but
Yeah, I'd love to hear. Let me ask you this. So I think we did it in the summer. Like it was a few months ago, right? Maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I
yeah,
think when we did it.
yeah,
And the session was only like I think it was supposed to be 40 minutes, but by the time we got through the technical issues, there was quite a few of those as well. It was really about 20 minutes a session. So I just want to tell everyone, like you don't need hours and hours to do this work. Like Christina just said, like a shift in perception, a slight shift, like what you just said was actually literally imagining, your parents behind you. And then you said after that everything was easy. But that was like a stepping stone, right? Like, probably if you knew what I was gonna do with you, you might have like been more resistant or something. But I feel honored that you trusted me and also that it's live, like who knows what's gonna happen, right?
yeah. But I do it now, a good time to say the effects of the work.
Yeah,
Okay,
please. Yeah.
so trying to truncate the story so it's not super long. Just so everyone knows, in April I was diagnosed with cancer, eye cancer, and I had gone through treatment since then, and I'm on the mend. Um, but in the middle of that treatment, there's a lot of different oncologists and doctors who need a lot of information about my family. And so I went, well, shoot, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. And the one parent that's alive is the one that caused the most harm, and I'm estranged from and haven't talked to in 20 plus years. Because of this work, I swear to you, I was just, oh, I'll just call him. I did. I just called him.
And he answered.
He answered.
Wow.
And I just said, hey, Dad, I have cancer. I need some information. I'm laughing because it's insane. But it was possible. And he's like, oh, okay. Sorry to hear you have cancer. And I was like, oh, yeah, it sucks. Like, just like, I mean, for no one knows me here in this forum, but the people that do know me, like, they were like, wait a minute, repeat what you just said. You called your father? Like, the people that know me, like, it is an unheard of act. And it was simple. And the conversation went on, and he provided a lot of necessary family background. He even ended up sending some pictures of, 1950s family that I didn't even know I had. Um, and then, he's still true to form. He still is who he is. And the whole conversation became about him. And I didn't really care. Like, the charge that would have brought me didn't exist.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, and I have my own therapy, I have my own processes. Nothing else but the meditation that you led me through allowed that possibility and actuality to actually happen. Nothing else.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it kind of tied in with your intention at the time, because your intention was about your cancer, right?
Yep.
Remember? And then it's funny how your cancer inadvertently led or led you to take an action, which was to call him to get information. Right? And well, first of all, I'm really proud of you that you did that, and that you didn't have a charge, and that's the most important thing, right? So in this work, it's not about like um, Christina calling her dad and saying I forgive you. It's not about that. It's really acknowledging that you have a father, you have a mother, and that you came from them. They gave you life, the biggest gift of all, and then that passes on to your children, because you have couple of children.
Well,
You
I
have
was
three.
even going to say, you know, there was this little tag at the end of our work where you're like, okay, now put your kids in front. And I mean, again, what was that? 2 minutes of the 20 minutes that we talked about the kids. But I
Yeah.
mean, that reverberated. Like, I think there were a couple conversations from my daughters just randomly, like asking about family stuff. Like, Mom, we're Italian, aren't we? Whereas before, like, that door was shut.
No Italians here, please.
And I mean, I remember when they'd bring that stuff up, I was like, oh, that's because of what Sarah and I did. So like they were more integrated in their family system because my desire to destroy that connection just evaporated.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I was explaining just before you came on that, when we do that, when we cut ourselves off, that we cut ourselves off from all that's behind there as well. And so, like with your kids, they were just sort of getting like you and nothing behind you, right? And so, by you doing that meditation and connecting and bringing in all the ancestors, which I was explaining, like we do have ancestors who were loving parents that loved and cared and acted, behaved well, right? And that kind of, and I can confidently say there's more of them than the ones that didn't behave like that. And what that does is it just raises the frequency and it allows the love to flow and it heals the wounded ones, in the family system. Like if you think of the family as a system, all right, and so love is the healing balm, and it's in the foundation of every family. It exists, but sometimes you have to dig for it, or allow it. Like you said, I allowed them to come in, right? And that's like giving them a place, because as I also mentioned, this is about inclusion and being in what is true. So what is true is that we do have family, we do have parents. Like your kids have parents, they have you and your husband, and your kids also have grandparents, and so on and so on and so on. And it does affect everybody in the system, because it's a system, right? So from one action that you took, it does affect your kids and the ones behind you. And and we can go from feeling victimized, right, rightly so, you know rightly so, to being an empowered like family member, and being empowered in the right to be here, because we've just experienced the reason why we're here, because our ancestors are the reason why we're here, right? That validates that we exist, and that in itself like changes everything, you know.
Yeah, this did.
Agree. Really?
100%. Again, I can't say it strongly enough. Anybody who knows me and knows the story about me and my dad in particular, but my mom and I have our own too. Uh, this is an unheard of event, like a not to be believed occurrence.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's why I was like, I gotta get back on and tell you from that 20-minute session. I mean, life changing, life
Yeah.
changing.
Thank
And I
you.
mean, thank you so much.
Yeah. And what else was I going to ask you? Oh yeah, what about your health now?
I lost a lot of vision from the radiation, but I still have the eye and the cancer, the I guess the DNA of it is dead. So that's a success. I have to be monitored, forever. It comes back randomly at people, during people's lives. There's no remission for this type of cancer. But other than that, I miss the vision, but I don't miss having cancer.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm gonna have to stay mindful of my health. I can forget about me real easy.
Mhm.
These kids of mine, and there's a lot of, stuff there still. Um, so, to keep the focus on myself and self-care, that's going to be, um, you know, a focus.
Right. Right. Yeah, definitely. And I was going to say, like, so if I was working with you as a client, right, like based on that would be the initial entryway into the work, right, establishing the connection, and then from that point, I would set up the illness or the symptom. But it seems like now that it's not, a big deal so much.
Mhm.
But if you were someone else, whatever, and we were doing this work, I would set up the cancer, and then typically what happens in a constellation is the cancer is actually related to someone in the family. And
Mm.
it could be someone that you're entangled with in some way, totally unconscious, right? Like, not that you know this, but um, and whether through loyalty or atoning for someone else's deeds in the family, or it could even be victims from a perpetrator, like someone who was in the war and they were responsible for a lot of people dying, or someone who had plantations and was a slave owner or something like that. It's like someone who exploited people for their own benefit, and those people died. They become part of the family system, and then the descendants um, end up paying for that in some kind of way, whether it's health, whether it's like constantly having bad luck or constantly things not going well, and so a simple setup like that, even as a tabletop, can reveal what is really going on underneath. And then it's all cleaned up, like the perpetrator, whoever that is, can claim the victims and say, this is mine, this is not yours, stuff like that. And that's just a couple of examples. I mean, there's other ways that it can turn out like that, but this work allows for that too, is to really get into what's going on as far as illness and stuff.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much time you have, but something else came out of this.
I got time.
You got time? Okay. So, my daughter, is severely ill still. Her seizures are worse. Mental health, total decline. But I had to do after this work, I had to do a separation of her and I because it was just too enmeshed. Um, because I always said that this eye cancer came because I couldn't see yet another seizure. They're just too traumatic for me, and it's that scary. Um, so I did a lot of work on coming apart so that we're two separate beings. But in the information that my dad gave me, there was an ancestor his great aunt, who was severely mentally ill, and with other helpers in my world right now, helped me see that she was talking through Madeline right now. And I don't know, Sarah, if you remember when I did the horse constellation, your beautiful black horse stood in between me and the person standing in for my father. He literally like walked in between me and my dad, and he did not move the whole constellation. That black horse of yours, I love just beyond. He protected me throughout that entire constellation. But this great aunt appeared in that family line in the horse constellation with you.
Oh, yeah.
And I got an actual, I mean, it's giving me goosebumps sharing this with you. Like my dad sent me an actual picture of her, and she was a dwarf, very small person who I guess, was schizophrenic and loved little candies. Like her whole thing was well, what is my daughter? Well, people are wondering if she's schizophrenic right now and obsessed with little candies. No joke. So, so I was like, okay, I now have a picture of her. I now know her name. And we were able to get her out of Madeline's current day world. And Madeline, I'm not hearing about little candies anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But when you say doing a constellation about the cancer, I mean, I have often wondered. I mean, I'm a good person. My family, my current family, they're pretty good people. I would say people looking in on us feel bad for us with the amount of bad stuff that we have to handle from a day-to-day basis. So
Right.
it's curious, what might be revealed.
Yeah, like in the instance of the great aunt, who was schizophrenic, I don't know if she was institutionalized or was she? Was she put in a mental asylum? You don't know?
No, but I think worse. I think in this rural Italian village, she was just locked and shut in a basement kind of scenario.
Right, right. So yeah, definitely it could be an entanglement. I know you've done some work on it. I'm just saying, like initially, an entanglement with your daughter, and really, because you just said, she was shut away, right? Like that's excluding a family member, right? So that's what we look at in the system. Who's been excluded? Who needs to be acknowledged? And really, like the great aunt, because she's come to you in so many ways. She came in a picture, she came through the information through your dad, she was in that constellation before. She's saying, hello, look at me. Can you just see me? Look at me. And that's really the key. If she can be looked at and said, I see you, and you belong here, or something like that,
Yeah.
something where she belongs, because the schizophrenia
Mhm.
is a symptom of something else, right? So something else, maybe something happened to her or some other family member that caused that, and the consequences of it is that she's ostracized because of her illness, and also maybe because of her physicality,
Yes.
and that is like a cyst in the family system. It doesn't go away, and it
Yeah.
gets passed down, right? And it's interesting, right? It's like, who would think these kind of things? Who would think that it would have such an effect? But right, the same way that they create a problem, the problem can be resolved, and everything comes into balance, and there's harmony in the family system because everybody who is ostracized has been allowed back in.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
There's a little freezing in and out, but I've heard
And in
everything
the
you said.
case, yeah, yeah, I just saw a thing that said it was unstable. But in your case, I mean, that I know you said it was about, you felt it was about like not wanting to see, And I'm not discounting that at all, but I think there's more to it.
Yes.
I would just say that, like, I think there's more to it.
Yes.
And
I mean, the seizures
yeah, and
not controlled. It's devastating. Her life, our life, it's still going on. So, but my cancer is not. So
yeah,
clearly, maybe
yeah,
there was a kicker there or a trigger, but it is not the reason. The reason.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and that is something that can be done within family constellations. And I think that when you came for the horse constellations, did we work on that around your daughter? I can't remember.
Well, yeah, the daughter. I mean, I wanted to get her back.
Oh, okay,
Now I
okay,
have her back, and she's still extremely ill.
okay. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, and I can't promise anything, but I'm just saying, like, constellations do help with things like that. You know,
Great. Well, look what one
FYI.
we call it meditation.
Yeah.
One event. Well, horse and one online with you. So two events.
Right, because you did come, I think, it was a couple of years ago, and you brought a group, didn't you? And you came for
Yeah.
a weekend or 2 days, and then we did a lot of conversations. And you sort of mentioned that other people in that group had results, but because I didn't have contact with anyone, I think I sent out an email, and I don't know if I heard from anyone or anything. So I don't
Oh yeah,
really
one
know.
gal got her divorce. She's happy. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what everybody else's issue was, but big shifts.
I remember there was one family. I can't remember names. I wouldn't say the names anyway, but I remember one family where everybody was on medication for depression.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
parents and all the children, and it was, you know.
Well, I just had breakfast with that family, and the boy that was hospitalized and wanted to kill himself had returned home from his first semester of college. He looked fresh and happy and cracking jokes. And that whole family, I mean, I still think there are medication things going on, but all four of them were sitting together, connected as a unit.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah,
So, well, listen, thank you so much. I know you have work to do,
sure.
and just want to say thanks, Christina. Thanks so much for coming on and giving us your testimony to this work.
Yes,
And
and thank you for doing this work, Sarah. Thank you so very much.
oh yeah, you're so welcome. You're so very welcome. And I'm going to continue talking. I'm just going to tell people some more things that I wanted to say. And you're welcome to leave because I know you have stuff to do. So,
Okay, great. Take
yeah.
care. Happy
All
New
right.
Year.
Yeah.
Okay,
Happy New
bye.
Year. Yeah. Thanks. Um, yeah, I had a thought and now it's kind of escaped me, but let me just drop in because it was well, first of all, I want to say we did mention horse constellations. So I do horse constellations at my location here in Ranchita. It's a small little place in San Diego County, Southern California. And so online, obviously, I am doing using objects, right? So I have people place things that are in their immediate environment, or if I'm doing a tabletop where I'm uh, sorry, in person, I use little model pieces. Like this is a deer, a female deer. And then I just, hold on, I just got these recently from African Constellations in Africa. They make these little dolls. They're really cute. And they come in different colors. Like this. So these are the children. And then, you know, I don't know if that's the grandmother. There's parents and grandmothers. And they're all handmade. They're really beautiful. And I used those in a video that I made. And really, you can use anything, that's what's so great about this work. But when we do it with the horses, we're doing it outdoors in person, and then the horses respond in some way, you know, whether that's from a distance and they go after something truthful is said, and or they come over, like Christina mentioned, the big black, she's actually a mare, not a male horse, but she's called Diva, and how she came and planted herself in between. And it's all it's all definitive, meaning like they know what they're doing. Like the horses don't just randomly do things, like they know what they're doing, and they might nudge someone towards someone, or you know what they're really doing is they're responding to the energy in the field. And when information comes through that nobody knew about, or you know wondered about, or whatever, they usually become really responsive and join in some kind of way. And just to say, I do teach this work, like the Horse Constellations. I have videos online, a video series. I have 2 right now. I'm getting ready to do another one, but where I videotaped the actual workshop and then I edited it into a series. So that's available if people can't make it here for the training, because I do have a training in, I believe it's in May, I think the first week of May. It's a 5-day horse constellation training. And I believe it's an advanced one, level 2, meaning that people would need to have some experience with constellations. And if people don't have so much horse experience, that's not such a big deal. It's the knowing about family constellations, and because we get deeper into the work. And then the tabletops, which I describe as tabletop is king, meaning it's like, I don't know, it's the top, because it's so precise and there's no discrepancy about what's happening on the table, because the person I'm working with is choosing the objects and is placing the objects, and all I'm doing is reflecting back. Okay. And if anyone wants to check out what a tabletop looks like, I've got a lot of live sessions that I did every week for about 3 months. And they're on the live section of this. You see live playlists. I have them grouped in segments like family, siblings, illness, or something like that. So you can check out different types of different ways I work with specific things. And I do have a tabletop class coming up. I believe it's January, I want to say January the 8th. And it's an 8-week online class. Really get familiar with how to do tabletops, how to structure the sessions, how to set them up, how to guide people through it, all that kind of stuff. And anyone interested in that, it's on my website. I'm going to leave a link at the bottom here. And yeah, so I do online trainings, and then I do on-site trainings with the horses, and then I also do privates and things like that. But I just want to say just a little more about this work, because as you heard from Christina, a 20-minute session was, she said from her own mouth, right, life-changing. And again, it's not about her forgiving her dad, right? It's accepting him as her father, acknowledging what is true, that she does have a father, instead of living in the illusion that she doesn't. Okay. When we deny the truth It's all chaos in our life. And it takes energy to do that, to keep that going, you know. It's much easier to be in the truth of what is. Everything flows and it's more harmonious. And the biggest problem I see in this work, I've been doing it since 2008, is people's relationship with their parents. It's the most common theme. And if someone can grasp the concept that actually our parents are the gift givers, they are the ones who gave us the biggest gift of all, which is our life. And just that alone, you know, if you can get there, that's a huge movement. And that will open things up for you. That will open up energies in the sense of, you know, we allow the energy to come down, which is essentially the love, to be an incredible resource. That is our birthright. We are all, you know, we're all have this as, you know, what's behind us and the love behind us. We all have it when we come in. That's our birthright. But for whatever reason, that I'm not going to excuse, you know, the bad things that people do, whatever reason, it can get severed and cut off, right? So this is why I feel like this work is amazing. It doesn't involve drugs. My horse just went running by. It doesn't involve drugs. It's doesn't involve someone coming repetitively, okay, for years and years. No. It's powerful. Anyway, so I hope you will check it out. And there are other constellation facilitators also, like not just me. There's more people doing this, and the more people that do this, the better. I mean, think how like this can change the lives of lots of people and generations to come. That's why I truly believe in this work. I think it's absolutely incredible, and I highly, highly recommend it. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye now. I just want to wish everyone a happy new year. I do have a New Year's Eve Activate 2023 workshop, which is a constellation workshop. It's an hour and a half. And if anyone's interested, it's $50. And if you don't have $50, you know what? You can just give me what you have. I'm doing it as a donation also for those who are struggling a bit financially. And it's a great way to enter 2023, anchor in. How do you want your year to be? You know, all that fun stuff. So I'll leave a link in the description for that as well. But I just want to wish everyone the best, and I hope everyone had a great holiday or Christmas, Hanukkah, everything. I hope everyone is blessed and will have a wonderful new year. Okay.